What is going on? It's your boy Warner Brother, and we are back with some more Need for Speed No Limits. It's time for episode 743 for part 3 of the Winter 2025 Garage Showcase. Let's dive into it, but before we do, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can be updated on whenever I release new content. And join my Discord and Patreon so you become members, help support the channel, and help me to produce better content. Let's go. Part 3, we have the muscle car class. And out of the muscle car class, we have 17 out of 26 cars. So we have 9 more to obtain. And we have a good group of muscle cars. And really good group of muscle cars, actually. And I believe the highest rated one out of all of them would be the Dodge Demon Revenant. Maxed out sitting in the mid 9s. Yeah, 959. So that's pretty high. Of course, we have some other cars that are high for my own sake. And starting with the highest one that we currently have is the Snoop Dogg edition of the Shelby GT500. This is, I forgot which generation this was, but this was designed in conjunction with Snoop Dogg and, of course, Need for Speed No Limits. He has 2 cars, in fact. The other one, which you will see a little bit later. And this thing is an absolute beast. I love the paint job on it with the blue stripe. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Sitting at 867 in performance. To the next one that we have, and we have a Mopar up next. Speaking of a demon, we have the Dodge Challenger SRT Demon. This one is not maxed out. This is the highest rated non-maxed out muscle car that we have. And I like the Snoop Dogg GT500, but this one accelerates extremely hard. Harder than the GT500. Sitting at 858 in performance. Still has some more potential to unlock. Moving on to the next one, we have, of course, another one of the first cars that you will receive, which is the Unicorn. That's right, Ken Block's Unicorn. This is version 1 with the Roush Racing NASCAR V8 motor, producing 800 horsepower, of course, all-wheel drive. Rest in peace to Ken Block. I think he's been gone for about 3 years now. And that tragic snowmobile accident up in Utah. But this thing is absolutely phenomenal. That is not a supercharger, by the way. That is just the independent throttle bodies hidden underneath a cover, sitting at 835 in performance. Absolute beast. Moving on to the next one that we have a classic from the 30s. That's right, 1930s. Specifically, I believe 32, if I'm not mistaken. This is the Ford Model 18. Also with a Roush Racing V8 engine in it instead of the normal straight 4-cylinder that it has. Absolute beast, and is a classic to boot. She looks phenomenal. You can see that V8 engine in it, and this one does have the supercharger sticking out of the hood there. Phenomenal. It's sitting at 816 maxed out in performance. On to the next one that we have the first GM car, or the highest rated GM car, in the Chevrolet Camaro Z28. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this is either 5th gen, I believe. This is the one basically that came after the one that came out in 2010, aka the Bumblebee one that everyone knows and love, which includes a change of the taillights and a facelift. So I believe this is still 5th gen. Still has the wide body kit that I put on it, sitting at 813 in performance, so not far behind from the Model 18. Up next, we have an Australian muscle car in the Ford Falcon XB Coupe. Now, we have Ford Falcons here in the US, but this one is exclusive to Australia, being the XB Coupe. And this thing is definitely not meant to be slept on in the slightest. We know how crazy Australians can get with their cars, especially with the whole burnout scene and such. This thing is supercharged and is an absolute weapon, sitting at 810 maxed out. Up next, we have another Mustang, and there's tons of different Mustangs in this game. This one is the Mustang GT in the S550 platform. This one, I believe, is the 2015 model. And this one is an absolute beast, with also the Ken Block Monster Energy wrap on this one as well. And I sort of kept the theme going with the green window tint and the green painted wheels as well. And looks phenomenal, is an absolute beast, sitting at 802 maxed out. Up next, we have another GM car. And this one in particular is a bit of a dark horse and kind of unassuming. This is not maxed out, sitting at 801 in performance. The Cadillac CT5V Blackwing. Now, we all know Hellcats are pretty badass cars and demons and such, but if you want a car that can keep up with them and still get your groceries and still look luxurious and have all the nice features in it, get you a CT5V Blackwing. Yes, it costs more than the Hellcat, but it has roughly the same amount of power figures and will smoke a Hellcat quick. I ain't gonna lie to you, it will. I've driven one in real life. It's very nice. Up next, we have the other Snoop Dogg car in the Challenger SRT 8 Snoop Dogg edition. This one I like, except for the wheels. The wheels I feel like you could did a bit different, but I digress. It's Snoop Dogg style, and Snoop Dogg makes anything look nice. And this one is no exception. This thing is an absolute beast. Not as much as the GT500 Snoop Dogg edition, but this thing will still hurt your feelings out on the street. Absolutely phenomenal. I love the LA Lakers colors. This one sits at 787 in performance. Moving on to the next one, we have another Mopar in the Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat, sitting at 782 in performance, and still has quite a bit of performance left to unlock. This thing looks phenomenal with the International Women's Day 2025 wrap on it. Stock, of course, has 707 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, the works. Everybody knows the performance of a Hellcat, Challenger, and Charger is basically the same. It's just Charger has 4 doors, Challenger has 2 doors. No difference other than that. But it looks good and it drives fast. And we all know it can hurt some people's feelings. On to the next one. We have my own Challenger SRT 8. Of course, the first version of the Challenger since they brought it back in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Of course, this one is maxed out and, in my opinion, looks phenomenal. Very sort of NASCAR style with the body kit. Of course, the NASCAR style rear spoiler, the shaker hood scoop. Looks absolutely phenomenal. And I think I did a good job on choices wheels as well. Sitting at 768 in performance, which is right between the Supra and the R32 Skyline. Up next, we have another Mustang. This is the Ford Mustang GT, the S550 platform, and this one is the Razor edition. So basically, this is the updated version of Razor's Mustang from Need for Speed Most Wanted 2005. And in my opinion, it looks quite nice. I do like the sort of flame accents around the headlights and around the back bumper area where the taillights are at. It looks phenomenal. Sitting at 693 in performance. Looks phenomenal. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next one, which is another classic, the 1970 Dodge Charger RT. Basically, this is my rendition of Dominic Toretto's Charger. You know, still black, still with the supercharger sticking out the hood, but this time we put a nice little drag spoiler on it. We have side exhaust, we have the window louvers. It looks absolutely menacing, and I feel like it's a little bit more tougher. Not saying that his Charger isn't tough already, but it looks more tougher than the original from the first movie, and I believe the sixth movie, like the fourth movie as well. It's phenomenal though. It looks amazing. And it also has a wide body too, sitting at 665 in performance. It definitely hurts some feelings. Up next, we have another movie star car. This one in the 1974 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. And if you don't recognize this movie car, well, then you may not have heard the movie Smokey and the Bandit. This is, of course, an old school movie, I believe, came out in the late 70s, early 80s, and features this car. Absolutely phenomenal car in real life. Fun to drive. I actually driven one, not exactly like this, but they're fun to drive. Sitting at 654 in performance. All right, nice. Moving on, we have another Mustang. This one is the Ford Mustang Boss 302, I believe from 1968 or 69. And this one, basically my version of Ken Block's Hoonicorn, if he wasn't sponsored by Monster Energy, of course. And this thing is absolutely beautiful. Of course, has the Hoonigan wide body kit on it. This one is supercharged, as you can tell, with the blower sticking out the hood. I kept the original wheels on it, however, but it still looks phenomenal and had a very nice looking flames too. Sitting at 640 in performance. She's quick. She's very quick. Moving on, we have another GM car. This one is the Chevrolet Camaro SS from 1967, the first generation Camaro, which also shared the same platform as that same year's generation Pontiac Firebird. And basically the same car, just one's a Pontiac, one's a Chevy. But this one is very, 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 very nice. And she's quick. Even though she's not maxed out, she is very, very quick. I did put the 2023 International Women's Day wrap on it and sort of gave it sort of like a ghost look, sitting at 633 in performance. Very nice. And if you also notice, I got a lot of parts from the Snoop Dogg Challenger that I put on here. Last but certainly not least, we have the 1967 Chevrolet Corvette Stingray 427. This is the second generation Corvette that came out between 1962 and 1967. And a little fun tidbit, there was 1 year of the second generation, 1963, where they had the split window. This one obviously is not the split window because they only had it for 1 year. They got rid of it because of issues with visibility with the rear view mirror. Kind of obvious because the back window was split in half. You can't really see out of it, but it's fine. Sitting at 626 in performance and still has more potential to unlock. And with that, that wraps it up for this episode of Need for Speed No Limits. Tune in next time for episode 744 for part 4 of the Winter 2025 Garage Showcase, where we showcase the sports car class. Like and subscribe for more content. Also for motorsports and gaming content, I will leave links to different channels in the description, as well as links to my Discord and Patreon so you can become members, help support the channel, and help me to produce better content. Thanks for joining. It's your boy Warner Brother, and I'm out.